Hello, friends. Welcome to this calm story. In the comments, write the name of your country and the time right now. Let's begin. Take a deep breath, dear listener. And as you breathe in, let your shoulders rise. And as you breathe out, allow them to soften, to melt, to let go. Right now, there's nothing you need to do. No place you need to go, no task waiting for you. This is your time, a gentle, quiet time, just for you. Feel the space around you growing softer, as though the air itself has slowed. Notice the faint rhythm of your breathing, like waves rolling across a calm shore. With every exhale, let the world outside fade further away. All sounds, all thoughts, all weight, drifting like fallen leaves on a river. You are safe here. You are welcome here. And as you listen, you may find your mind beginning to wander, to soften, to slip into that sweet and dreamy in-between place where stories become doorways and imagination becomes a gentle cradle for rest. And so, our story tonight begins. It begins in a quiet valley where a river winds slowly through fields of green. The water glimmers beneath the silver of a rising moon, its surface rippling with the soft breath of evening. On the riverbank, nestled between tall willows and the hum of frog song, there stands a small stone cottage. Its chimney leans a little to one side, and from it drifts a thin thread of smoke, carrying the scent of wood and warmth. Through the open shutters, a glow of lamplight spills into the night, golden, steady, and calm. Inside, you will find the weaver. The weaver sits before her loom, a tall wooden frame worn smooth by years of gentle use. The shuttle rests in her hands, gliding back and forth with an easy rhythm. Clack, hush, clack, hush, clack. Each sound is steady, soothing, like a heartbeat, echoing in the stillness. It is the song of the loom, a sound that has whispered across centuries. For in medieval times, weaving was not only craft, but lifeblood. Imagine the cottage walls, hung with skeins of dyed thread. Some are earthy browns, made from walnut husks. Others are soft greens, drawn from nettles and leaves. There are gentle reds, coaxed from madder roots, and rare, precious blues, born from woad leaves, ground and fermented with patience and care. Every color carries a story, every thread, a fragment of earth, sunlight, and rain. And here, in this cottage, the threads are drawn together, woven into cloth that will warm a family through winter, or wrap a child safely against the wind. In the Middle Ages, cloth was more precious than gold to many. It was wealth, protection, identity. Villagers spun wool by hand, twisted fibers from flax and hemp, and dyed them with herbs that grew in the hedgerows. A simple cloak could take weeks of work, a patterned tapestry, months, even years. And still, the rhythm of weaving never hurried. It moved as slowly and surely as the turning of the seasons. Clack, hush, clack, hush, clack. The loom's steady voice carried through cottages like this one all across Europe, from quiet hamlets in England to mountain villages in France, from Italian farmhouses to the misty hills of Ireland. And now, here you are, sitting in this very cottage, watching the weaver's hands. Notice the sound of the shuttle as it slides. Notice the creak of the loom's frame. Notice the fire in the hearth, crackling softly behind you. Its warmth touches your skin like the tender weight of a blanket. The light flickers on the walls, glowing over baskets filled with carded wool, over shelves where clay jars of dye wait patiently. Breathe in the faint scent of lavender, drying in bunches above the window. Breathe out, and imagine yourself sinking a little deeper into the chair where you sit. The world outside feels far away now. There is only this cottage, this riverbank, this rhythm. Clack, hush, clack, hush, clack, like your heartbeat, like your breathing, like the gentle rhythm of sleep approaching. The weaver hums a soft tune under her breath, almost a lullaby. She has sung it since she was a girl, taught by her grandmother, who once sang it while spinning wool. It is a tune that speaks of patience, of seasons turning, of sunlight on fields of flax. Her hands move without thought now, so practiced, so natural. The thread tightens, the shuttle glides, the cloth grows row upon row. On the loom, a simple pattern emerges. Little diamonds of green and gold, like leaves against the light. The weaver smiles faintly. In medieval times, patterns carried meaning. A woven shape could show family pride, village loyalty, even hidden blessings. And tonight, the weaver's cloth is meant to carry dreams. The pattern she weaves is soft and endless, like waves on the river outside. It is a cloth for rest, for comfort, for nights when sleep is slow to arrive. And perhaps, as you listen to the loom song, you can feel your own thoughts weaving together, threads of memory, threads of breath, threads of drifting softness. The more you listen, the less you need to think. The more you imagine, the less you need to hold on. Clack, hush, clack, hush, clack. You may even notice how your body feels heavier now, how your mind feels quieter, as though the loom is weaving not just cloth, but a blanket of peace around you. The weaver's hands never falter, though her movements are slow and calm, unhurried as though each pass of the shuttle could stretch time itself. The wooden loom creaks, a sound softened by years of use, and each thread seems to hum quietly, as if it remembers the fields it once grew in. Outside, the river drifts in a silvered hush, its waters mirroring the moonlight like woven strands of light themselves. You can hear the faint lapping of the current against stones, a rhythm that joins with the loom's song, two steady patterns blending together. Clack, hush, clack, hush, clack, hush. The loom speaks, the river answers, and together they make a lullaby as old as the earth itself. The fire in the hearth settles deeper into glowing embers, sending out the occasional crackle. The warmth seeps further into the little cottage, making shadows soften, blurring the edges of shelves, baskets, and the wooden floor until everything feels as if it's wrapped in a quiet haze. The scent of lavender above the window becomes stronger in the stillness, mixing with the faint aroma of burning oak. The weaver leans closer to her work, humming again, her voice so low it could almost be the whisper of the wind outside. The song carries no words, only notes, notes that rise and fall gently as though mimicking breath, as though her weaving and her voice are bound together, two parts of one slow rhythm designed to cradle the night. You notice the cloth growing longer with each movement of her hands. Its surface is patterned with shapes that look like leaves caught in a breeze, each one stitched from threads of gold and green. The pattern seems to shimmer faintly in the lamplight, as if the threads themselves hold a memory of the sun and the fields from which they were born. In medieval times, dyeing such colours was no small thing. Golds came from saffron or weld, greens from blending woad with herbs, and each step required patience, boiling, steeping, drying. The villagers who wore such cloth might never know how much time, how much care, how many days of quiet work had gone into the colours upon their shoulders. But the weaver knew, and perhaps the cloth remembered too. The sound of the loom deepens your calm. It becomes not just sound, but sensation. You can feel the weight of each shuttle's glide as though the rhythm is weaving through you, aligning your thoughts into order, row upon row. Every worry, every restless thought becomes a thread tucked neatly into place, smoothed and softened until nothing feels tangled anymore. The river outside continues its slow journey, winding past stones that have rested for centuries. You can almost picture the moon's reflection rippling on the surface, like silver thread pulled across a dark cloth. If you listen closely, you can hear the wings of a night bird passing overhead. One soft movement of air, then silence again. The weaver's hands pause just for a breath as she leans back to gaze at her work. Her eyes, gentle and calm, take in the pattern, and she smiles faintly as though satisfied with the harmony of threads. Her fingers brush the surface lightly, and then she resumes, the shuttle sliding once more. Clack, hush, clack, hush, clack, hush. Her grandmother once told her that weaving was not only a craft, but a form of prayer. Every line of thread could carry intention. Peace could be woven into cloth. Hope could be pressed into its fibers. Even dreams could be held within its patterns like seeds resting in soil. As you listen, you may imagine your own dreams being gently carried into the cloth. Perhaps the threads take your worries and soften them, weaving them into something lighter, something almost invisible. Perhaps they gather your hopes and tuck them safely into place, row after row. The loom accepts everything and transforms it patiently, steadily, without ever rushing. Outside, the night deepens. The sky is velvet dark now, filled with stars that shine like little beads scattered across an endless fabric. Each one glimmers faintly, like a stitch in the heavens. The moon drifts higher, casting its glow upon the river and through the window. The cottage feels surrounded by a world that is quiet, calm, and infinite. Inside, the rhythm continues, steady and low. The air feels heavy with rest, with peace. The weaver hums again, softer still, until her voice blends so fully with the loom and the fire that you cannot tell where one ends and the other begins. And as you listen, your body relaxes further. Your breathing slows to match the loom's gentle song. Your thoughts, like threads, are smoothed and aligned, becoming softer, simpler, easier to let go. Clack, hush, clack, hush, clack, hush. The loom is steady, the river is steady, the fire is steady, and you too are steady now, calm, safe, ready to drift deeper. The night is long but soft, the stars are bright but kind, and the loom will continue its work for as long as you need. Weaving a blanket of rest, weaving dreams into cloth, weaving peace into every breath you take. The loom continues its rhythm, steady as ever, filling the little cottage with its wooden lullaby. Outside, the river whispers, and the stars seem to lean closer to listen, as though curious about the song of threads being born inside the warm stone walls. The weaver's lamp flickers slightly, casting shifting patterns of light across the beams overhead. Shadows sway like gentle dancers, rising and falling in time with the shuttle. Each moment is slow, softened, stretched out, like warm honey dripping into still water. She pauses for a moment to dip her fingers into a small clay bowl beside her. The bowl holds dyed yarn, rich with the scent of herbs and earth. Some threads smell faintly of nettles, sharp but green. Others carry the faint sweetness of berries, once gathered in summer's sun. One coil of thread still smells of smoke, as if it remembers the fire that boiled its color deep into the fiber. She runs her fingers along the yarn with reverence, as if greeting old friends. Every color is a story, every fiber a memory, and when they are woven together, they become something far more than cloth. They become a tapestry of seasons, of earth, of patience itself. She chooses a soft blue thread, dyed with woad. Blue was rare in medieval days, precious like a jewel. It required crushing leaves, fermenting them in vats, waiting days or weeks until the color revealed itself, rising in the fibers as if conjured by quiet magic. For this reason, a strip of blue cloth was prized, sometimes even reserved for nobility, for church robes, for moments when color was more than decoration, but a symbol of hope and holiness. Now she adds it to her pattern, letting it ripple across the cloth like the reflection of the night sky on water. The gold and green diamonds become framed with blue, and suddenly the fabric looks alive, as though fields of grain had met rivers under a summer sky. The sound resumes, clack hush, clack hush, clack hush. It is steady, it is endless, it is safe. The fire crackles again, a log shifting gently as it breaks into embers. A spark floats upward, vanishing into the chimney. The warmth deepens, filling the room with comfort that seems to settle directly into your muscles, as though you too are wrapped in a woven blanket, heavy and soft across your shoulders. The weaver hums again, her voice carrying on just one or two notes. They rise, they fall, they echo the motion of her hands, the gentle sway of her breath. Her song is not meant to be heard with the ears alone. It is meant to be felt, the way one feels the warmth of sunlight on closed eyelids. Her voice drifts into you, easing you deeper into calm. In medieval villages, nights were long. No rush of glowing lanterns on every street, no hum of distant traffic. Only firelight, only moonlight, only the sounds of animals bedding down and wind slipping through branches. It was in these long nights that craftspeople like her worked quietly, filling the stillness with patient rhythm. Time itself seemed slower, stretched wide like the sky. And here you are, seated within such a night. The river moves slowly, the loom works slowly, the weaver breathes slowly, and you are beginning to feel yourself slow, too. Notice how your thoughts drift like threads waiting to be gathered. Notice how your breath is steady, flowing in, flowing out, each one softer than the last. Notice how your body feels heavier, as though gravity itself has woven a blanket of rest around you. The loom continues its song. Clack, hush, clack, hush, clack, hush. Outside, an owl calls once, its sound carrying softly over the fields. Then silence again. Only the loom, only the river, only the breath of the night. The weaver leans forward and brushes the fabric gently with her hand. She closes her eyes for a moment, feeling the texture beneath her fingertips. It is smooth, yet strong, holding every thread firmly in place, as though it could last for centuries if cared for. Perhaps it will become a cloak, perhaps a blanket, perhaps something passed from parent to child. But in this moment, it is simply a song of threads, still unfinished, still alive in its making. The lamp burns lower now, its flame dim but steady. The room grows softer in shadow, the corners blending into one another until the walls seem further away, as though the cottage itself is dissolving into the night. Even the loom's sound seems to grow fainter, more distant, yet still steady, like a heartbeat you feel rather than hear. And as the night deepens, the story weaves deeper into you too. The night grows deeper now, and you may notice your body sinking further into rest, as if each strand of your muscles is being unknotted, one thread at a time. The air around the cottage is hushed, save for the soft gurgle of the nearby river, its water winding gently through stone and moss, carrying moonlight on its back. Inside, the loom continues its slow, meditative song. Wood against wood, shuttle sliding across threads, a rhythm steady enough to soothe the heart into a slower beat. Every sound feels as though it were chosen by the night itself to guide you deeper, calmer, quieter. The weaver hums softly, a melody without words. It drifts upward into the beams of the thatched roof, settling like mist across the rafters. She dips her hand into a clay bowl beside her. Inside are berries she gathered at dusk, crushed into a deep, dusky dye. Medieval artisans often believed that the color purple was a sign of dignity, and though peasants rarely wore it, a weaver might still dream of rich shades hidden in humble berries. As the threads drink in the color, the fabric takes on the gentlest hue, like twilight resting just before stars appear. She smooths her hand across the cloth, and in that simple touch is centuries of patience, a reminder that every robe, every banner, every simple tunic once began like this, on a loom, beside a river, guided by steady hands. Outside, an owl calls, its sound like a soft bell carried through branches. The leaves shift, but not with urgency. only with the kind of breeze that brushes the skin like a lullaby. Imagine the coolness of that air slipping through the wooden cracks of the cottage, mixing with the faint warmth of the hearth. The weaver sets aside her shuttle and pours warm water into a small iron cup. She sprinkles herbs across the surface, a medieval practice for calming the mind, with lavender and chamomile known even then as helpers of rest. Steam curls upward, white against the shadowy rafters, and for a moment, time itself seems to pause with her. Her eyes close, her breath slows, and she listens to the river, to the loom, to the owl, to the night holding her in its quiet arms. And as you listen with her, you too may feel the threads of your own thoughts loosening, as if they were being carefully woven into peace. The fire in the hearth has settled now into glowing embers, crackling just enough to remind the cottage that warmth still lingers. Each pop of the wood sounds like a tiny sigh, a voice of comfort from the heart of the night. The weaver's loom rests, its shuttle placed neatly aside, but the threads remain, stretched across the frame like lines of moonlight, ready to continue their quiet story when dawn returns. For now, the cottage embraces silence, a silence that is never empty, but filled with the softness of distant sounds. Beyond the wooden door, the river flows steadily, carrying with it fallen leaves and reflections of the stars. In medieval times, villagers often believed rivers could whisper secrets to those who listened, and tonight, the water seems to hum a lullaby all its own, steady and eternal, soothing as a cradle's sway. The weaver leans back on her wooden stool, her hand still faintly stained with berry dye. She gazes at the cloth, and the candlelight makes the woven surface shimmer as though threads of silver and violet have been tucked inside. Her mind drifts to the marketplace, where cloth like this would one day hang proudly, woven not just with color, but with patience, quiet hours, and the rhythm of night. She closes her eyes. Her breathing deepens, matching the slow pace of the river. You may notice your own breath joining hers. Calmer now, longer now, as though your body too is part of this gentle rhythm. The owl outside calls again, a soft echo that drifts through branches and across water. Its wings beat once, twice, but softly, as if the night itself were careful not to wake you. The sky is full of stars, and in medieval villages, people often thought of constellations as guides for their journeys or guardians watching from above. Tonight, their light is not for travel, but for rest. The weaver rises slowly, placing a woolen shawl across her shoulders. She sets her cup aside, and with one last look at the loom, she whispers a thank you into the quiet. A thank you to the threads, to the river, to the night. And as the candle flickers lower, the cottage begins to dream along with her. Each corner of the room softens into shadow, each sound grows dimmer, and you too are invited to let go, to rest, to drift, as if the loom's final thread tonight were weaving sleep itself. The cottage grows still, its wooden beams creaking only faintly as the night deepens. Outside, the wind softens to a whisper, sliding through the reeds by the riverbank like fingers combing through strands of hair. Each sound is delicate, hushed, designed to ease your thoughts into rest. In medieval villages, homes like this were often simple. Walls of timber, roofs thatched with straw, small windows covered with oiled parchment instead of glass. Light filtered dimly through by day, but at night, only candle or fire kept the darkness away. Imagine that warm glow, golden light painting every object in soft shadow, like the whole room is wrapped in a blanket of warmth. The weaver moves quietly, her feet brushing the earthen floor, a path smoothed by years of living. She pauses at a shelf where clay jars rest. Inside, powders and dried herbs for dyes, madder root for deep red, woad leaves for blue, walnut husks for brown. Each color a gift from nature, each one carefully gathered and prepared with patience. As she runs her hand across the jars, a calm sense of history drifts through the room. In the Middle Ages, colors held meaning. Blue, woven from woad, was a color of peace and humility, while red could symbolize courage or the quiet warmth of life itself. Her cloth, with its gentle blend of hues, seems to hold both strength and calm. She returns to her chair, the shawl tucked closer now, and listens to the river's lull once more. The rhythm outside, the rhythm within, all echo one another. Breath, water, loom, steady, timeless, soothing. You may notice your body softening further, as though each sound from this world is brushing away the weight of the day. The shadows deepen, the candle flickers, and even the loom seems to sigh into sleep. The weaver leans her head against the wood, her thoughts slowing, her breath steady, and in that moment the night itself seems to lean closer, holding the cottage in a gentle embrace. The cottage air grows heavy with calm, and the steady rhythm of the loom becomes quieter, softer, like a heartbeat easing into sleep. The weaver closes her eyes for just a moment, her hands resting gently in her lap. Outside, the river carries on, slow, silver threads of water moving under the pale moon. The sound is hypnotic, a lull that has eased travelers, villagers, and dreamers alike for centuries. Some medieval folk believed that rivers held spirits, guardian presences that whispered protection to those who lived nearby. The weaver, too, feels it, as though the river is watching over her, cradling her dreams before they even begin. Her breath slows, and her mind drifts beyond the flickering candle, beyond the humble walls of timber and reed. She imagines colors unraveling in the night, reds like the fading embers of the hearth, blues as deep as twilight skies, green soft as moss beneath bare feet. They weave together not on her loom, but in the quiet air itself, a tapestry of drifting dreams. In the Middle Ages, dreams were often thought to be messages, sometimes divine, sometimes warnings, sometimes only gentle stories woven from the threads of daily life. Tonight, the weaver's dream feels like a blessing, gentle and unhurried. She sees herself walking through endless meadows, the grass whispering at her ankles, each step lighter than the one before. The stars overhead gleam like candle flames set into a vast dark ceiling, and in that great quiet sky there is no fear, no burden, only the soft sense of belonging, of resting safely inside the embrace of the world. The dream deepens, yet the cottage remains. The fire crackles faintly, the loom rests silently in the corner, and the river outside continues its steady song. Everything holds her gently, everything whispers her into deeper calm. And as her dream carries her farther, you may notice your own body feeling lighter, calmer, safer. As though her dream has become your dream too. The cloth of the night wraps around you both, stitched from candlelight, moonlight, and the hush of the flowing water. The dream carries the weaver gently from her cottage, out through the wooden door that creaks just slightly, and into the cool breath of the night. The village lies before her, stone cottages with thatched roofs, their windows glowing faintly with embers fading to ash. All is hushed, as though the entire world has agreed to rest. She walks slowly, barefoot on the worn earth path, feeling each step as a tender reminder that she is safe, here and watched over. In medieval villages, nights were sacredly quiet. Candles burned low and curfew bells sometimes rang, reminding folk to shutter windows and let the dark do its work. Only the watchman, or perhaps a wandering cat, would be awake at such an hour. The weaver passes the marketplace, its wooden stalls folded into silence. She imagines them by day, baskets of herbs, bolts of linen, loaves of bread carried in by farmers and bakers. Now they stand empty under the moon, but still they hum with memory, like the loom humming with stories of cloth. A church bell in the distance tolls once, low and deep, a reminder of the hour, a voice that has carried over stone and timber for centuries. Medieval bells were more than markers of time. They were guardians of the night, calling people to prayer, warding away storms, and even believed to drive away wandering spirits. The weaver feels soothed by the sound. Each vibration sinks deeper into a dream body, as though the bell itself were cradling her heartbeat. She walks past the blacksmith's forge, where embers glow faintly in the ash. A place that by day roared with hammer and fire, but by night breathes out silence and smoke. She pauses at a well in the square. Its rope sways lightly in the breeze, and the water within glimmers silver in the moonlight. In the Middle Ages, wells were thought of as sacred, sometimes believed to be portals between the waking world and the unseen. The weaver looks down into its still surface, and in that mirror of water, she sees her dream self smile. Calm, content, wrapped in timelessness. Her breath slows further. The village grows softer, less like buildings and streets, more like shapes dissolving into mist. The dream guides her onward, towards something even gentler, something waiting beyond the village itself. The village slowly drifts behind her, its cottages fading into shadow, its bells' low hum lingering like a lullaby. Ahead lies the forest, a soft darkness woven with silver strands of moonlight. She steps beneath the first arch of trees, and at once the air changes, cooler, fresher, alive with the quiet breath of leaves. Each step presses into moss, so springy and soft it feels, as though the earth itself is cushioning her journey. Owls murmur from hidden branches, their calls echoing like gentle questions in the night. The forest is calm, not frightening. It feels like a cloak being wrapped around her shoulders, protective and kind. Medieval travelers often feared the woods, for bandits and wolves could hide within. Yet there were also tales of enchanted groves, where spirits of trees whispered blessings and rare herbs grew by moonlight. The weaver feels only this second kind, the magic of leaves brushing together softly overhead, like a choir singing her into peace. She pauses by a fallen oak, its trunk hollow and wide, a reminder of centuries past. In the Middle Ages, oaks were symbols of strength, believed to house guardian spirits. People even carved prayers into their bark, trusting the tree to carry them heavenward. The weaver runs her fingers over the fallen oak, and it hums with quiet warmth, as if those old prayers still linger there, waiting to comfort anyone who listens. Deeper into the forest she goes, and the path grows narrower until it seems less like a road and more like a dreamline, a ribbon of light guiding her forward. Tiny fireflies flicker to life among the branches. They dance like sparks from the loom, their glow soft and golden as if weaving the night sky with her. Somewhere ahead, the sound of running water calls, a brook winding gently over stones, its song clear and endless. The weaver feels her breath join the rhythm of the stream, each inhale like a rising wave, each exhale like water flowing away. With every step, her body grows lighter, her thoughts slower, until she feels she could drift forever in this forest of gentle night. The dream is guiding her towards something, perhaps the brook, perhaps a hidden glade, perhaps a deeper secret of the medieval night. The forest clears just enough to reveal a silver ribbon of water, the brook whispering over polished stones. Moonlight catches its ripples, breaking into soft sparks of silver and blue. The air here is cooler, with the scent of damp earth and wild mint. The weaver kneels beside the stream, cupping her hands in the cold, clear water. She drinks and feels the freshness spread through her chest, as though each drop carries the strength of the forest. In the Middle Ages, villagers often believed streams were enchanted. Some said they flowed from sacred springs, their waters blessed by saints or spirits. Pilgrims carried tiny vials of such water, hoping it would protect them on long journeys. The weaver, too, feels protected now, as though the brook has whispered a blessing just for her. She lets her fingers trace the current, watching it swirl like threads in a loom. For a moment, she imagines the brook itself is weaving, a tapestry of sound and light, forever flowing forward. Nearby, she notices small clusters of herbs growing at the water's edge, soft green leaves of balm and sage, plants medieval healers once gathered by moonlight. It was said that herbs plucked under the stars kept their power longer, especially if harvested beside running water. The weaver brushes her hand over them gently, their fragrance rising, sweet, calming, almost like a lullaby. She closes her eyes, listening to the brook's steady song. Each splash, each ripple becomes part of a rhythm that slows her breath. Her heart beats in time with the stream. The world narrows to the sound of water, the glow of moonlight, the cool kiss of the breeze. The brook seems endless, as though if she followed it, it would lead to a hidden glade, or perhaps to the heart of her dream. The brook widens, its waters curling beneath a bridge of pale, time-worn stone. Moss clings to the arches, soft and velvety under moonlight. Every stone seems ancient, etched with faint grooves of forgotten footsteps. The weaver pauses, her eyes tracing the gentle curve of the bridge. It feels like a threshold, a place between worlds. In medieval times, bridges were often seen as symbols of passage, linking not just villages, but the earthly and the spiritual. Travelers crossing them at night would sometimes whisper a prayer, asking for safe passage into whatever unknown lay ahead. The night air is cool here, thick with the scent of river moss and wet stone. She runs her fingers along the railing, the rough surface grounding her like threads catching in her hand. Some say that monks in the 12th century built such bridges by hand, stone by stone, as acts of devotion. Each stone was laid in silence, a prayer pressed into mortar. The weaver can almost feel that devotion now, as though the bridge itself hums with a quiet, protective energy. Beneath, the water glimmers, mirroring the stars above. It looks as though the sky has spilled itself into the brook, a river of constellations drifting past. She takes a slow step forward. The sound of her footsteps echoes softly against the arch. Each echo feels like a heartbeat, drawing her further across. With every step, her worries fall away, like leaves slipping into the current. At the center of the bridge she lingers, watching the water ripple far below. Her reflection shimmers beside the stars, as though she too has become part of the night sky. She breathes deeply, letting the stillness wrap around her. It feels as though she has crossed not just a brook, but into a quieter, gentler world, a world stitched together with moonlight. Beyond the bridge, the land opens wide. and a meadow stretches before her like a silver quilt. Each blade of grass shimmers, dipped in moonlight. The air is thick with the perfume of wild blossoms, lavender, chamomile, and sweet clover, plants that medieval folk once gathered to brew calming teas or fill pillows for sleep. The weaver steps barefoot onto the meadow, and the earth feels cool beneath her skin. The flowers seem to sway in rhythm, as if they are breathing with her. A breeze passes gently, whispering across the field, making the petals flutter like soft wings. In the Middle Ages, people believed that certain meadows were enchanted, touched by fair folk or blessed by wandering saints. Some said the dew that settled on such grass was healing, capable of soothing weary hearts and cooling troubled minds. The weaver kneels, cupping her hands to gather a drop of dew, and touches it lightly to her brow. It feels cool, like a blessing of the night itself. Above, the stars seem brighter here, as though they lean closer, wanting to join in the stillness. The meadow glows with their reflection, a carpet of light stitched across the earth. She lies back among the flowers, their fragrance wrapping around her like a lullaby, the rustle of the grass, the gentle hum of crickets, and the distant murmur of the brook. All weave together, a tapestry of sound that calms her deeper, deeper still. Her breath slows, her thoughts loosen like thread slipping free of the loom. She feels as though she has always belonged here, among the blossoms and the stars, in this meadow where time itself pauses to rest. The weaver hears a sound so tender, it feels as though the night itself is humming. A voice, low and steady, woven with the faint strum of strings. She follows, bare feet brushing through the grass, until she finds a lone bard seated on a stone. His lute rests across his lap, fingers plucking delicate notes that shimmer like fireflies. In medieval times, bards carried songs not only for joy, but as memory keepers. Their verses held stories of kings, battles, and forgotten saints. Tonight, however, his song is a lullaby, a melody not for courts or crowded halls, but for the quiet of one soul, wandering under starlight. The bard's voice drifts like warm smoke, wrapping her in comfort. Every note feels steady, like footsteps on a soft forest path. He sings of distant castles, of rivers that remember every stone, of gentle dawns where even armor turns to silver mist. She listens, and her heart feels lighter, as though the weight of many days is lifted into song. The bard meets her eyes, smiles knowingly, and nods, as if to say, "Rest here a while." The night bends around the melody. It feels endless, yet calming, like the soft rocking of a cradle. And for a moment, the world is only music, woven into silence. The weaver thanks the bard softly, then follows a winding path he gestures toward. It leads her to a clearing where the moonlight rests upon the broken outline of an old chapel. Its stones are worn and crumbling, walls leaning as though tired from centuries of standing. Yet through the open arch, she sees a glow. Dozens of small candles burn in clay holders, their flames steady, casting halos of golden light across cracked floors. In the Middle Ages, chapels like these were scattered across fields and roadsides, offering travelers a place to pause, to breathe, to pray, or simply to rest. Many were tended not by priests, but by villagers who cared for them quietly, keeping the flame alive. She steps inside, and the hush is complete. A silence so deep that even her breath feels like a prayer. Each candle flickers gently, like 100 tiny heartbeats. The wax drips slowly, marking time in a language older than bells. She kneels near the altar, her fingers brushing cool stone. A faint scent of beeswax and wild herbs fills the air, reminding her of gardens in summer. The flame light wavers across the walls, painting soft shadows of saints with downturned eyes. The weaver feels her own spirit soften. She thinks of her loom, its rhythm echoing like prayer beads. She realizes each thread she weaves is a kind of devotion, binding past to present, labor to beauty. For a long while, she lingers in the chapel, breathing in the comfort of its fragile endurance, stone, wax, and silence, a trinity of calm. Outside, the night waits with patience, but inside, her heart glows as though 100 candles now live within it. When the weaver steps out of the chapel, she finds the night sky has deepened. Stars gleam like stitches across a dark velvet cloth. Along the road ahead, lanterns flicker in slow procession. A small band of pilgrims moves steadily, their cloaks dusty, their sandals worn thin by long miles. Each carries a simple wooden staff, and at their belts hang pouches filled with bread, dried herbs, and scallop shells, symbols of pilgrimage since the 12th century. Some wear tiny pewter badges, tokens purchased at holy shrines, glinting faintly in the lamplight. They walk in near silence save for the soft crunch of gravel beneath their feet. But one voice rises gently, a hymn, barely above a whisper. It weaves through the stillness like thread slipping through cloth, its melody calm and repetitive, a lullaby for weary souls. The weaver joins them at the edge, her hands folded, her steps falling into rhythm with theirs. She listens to the quiet chant and feels her own breath slow, as though the song has entered her chest. In the Middle Ages, pilgrims believed that each mile walked was a prayer, each blister a sacrifice, each sunrise another step toward redemption. Some never reached their holy destinations, but the journey itself was seen as grace. Lanterns sway, casting warm halos on the road. The pilgrims' faces glow with gentle weariness, lined not with suffering, but with calm surrender. Their shadows stretch long behind them, as if carrying burdens too heavy for daylight. The weaver wonders what shrine they walk toward. A cathedral? A spring said to heal the sick? Perhaps simply the hope of peace? She does not ask, for in this moment, the only thing that matters is the lantern light, the chant, and the steady comfort of walking forward together into the velvet night. The road bends, and beyond the dark hedgerows, a faint glow begins to shimmer, the promise of firelight. The pilgrims, shoulders heavy but spirit steady, follow the glow until the outline of an inn emerges from the night mist. Its wooden beams are crooked with age, the thatched roof patched by many careful hands. Above the door swings a painted sign worn by weather, its faded letters barely legible. Inside, though, all is bright. A great hearth blazes. At the center, its fire crackling and sighing. Shadows stretch and sway across the walls, as though they too are weary travelers dancing in the warmth. Benches line the long trestle tables, where bowls of stew steam gently, and tankards of ale glisten in the light. The weaver steps inside, her senses wrapped in the gentle scent of smoke, rosemary, and slow-cooked barley. The innkeeper greets the pilgrims with a nod of practiced kindness. Travelers of every road sit here, a merchant with ink-stained fingers, a minstrel tuning a small harp, a soldier with his armor set aside, eyes closed in rare peace. In medieval times, such inns were lifelines, offering refuge for the body and spirit. Many were run by abbeys or guilds, their keepers sworn to feed the hungry and shelter the lost. The walls of this inn bear the marks of countless nights, scratches, initials, stories carved by passing hands. The weaver takes her seat near the hearth. The loom's rhythm still echoes faintly in her mind, but here it softens, becoming one with the crackle of fire and the murmur of voices. A bowl of warm stew is set before her, and as she tastes the first spoonful, a quiet comfort spreads through her chest like a blanket tucked close. The pilgrims too settle down, their chant now replaced by soft laughter. The minstrel plucks a string, a melody as gentle as falling snow. Outside, the night presses on, but within these walls time loosens its hold. The inn is more than wood and stone. It is a pause, a deep breath in the endless journey, and beneath the hearth's glow, the weaver feels her spirit cradle itself into rest. The minstrel at the trestle bench lifts his harp. It is a small thing, polished by years of travel, its wood worn smooth where countless fingers have pressed. He plucks a single note, a sound that hangs in the air like a golden bead, and then another. Soon a melody unfurls, woven as delicately as cloth on the loom. The inn grows still. Even the fire seems to lean closer. Voices hush, spoons pause mid-air, and all eyes turn toward the source of the song. The tune tells no story with words, yet all who listen feel it. The merchant hears echoes of bustling markets where coins once rang like bells. The soldier feels the shadows of battle lift from his shoulders. The pilgrim, still dust-streaked from the road, imagines the holy shrine ahead, glowing with promise, and the weaver. Ah, she hears her loom within it, the shuttle moving back and forth, the rhythm steady and eternal. It is as though her craft has been translated into music. In medieval times, songs were more than entertainment. They were vessels for memory, bearing history where parchment could not reach. A single ballad could hold the tale of a king, a saint, or a village lost to fire. The minstrel was not simply a performer, he was a keeper of time. Tonight, the harp's song is simple, but within its simplicity lies power. It binds strangers into kin, their hearts swaying in unison. The weaver closes her eyes, and the melody settles in her chest. She imagines threads of sound sliding through her hands, braiding light with shadow. The loom hums in her memory, a heartbeat in rhythm with the harp. When the final note fades, a silence follows. Deep, reverent, as if the inn itself is bowing to the song. Then a soft cheer rises, warm and grateful. Tankards lift, stew spoons clink, and laughter swells again, but gentler now, as though wrapped in music's afterglow. The minstrel smiles, his harp set aside like a resting bird. The night continues, but something within the weaver has shifted. She feels lighter, as though some unseen hand has smoothed the knots in her soul. Above, the chambers of the inn wait with soft beds and candlelight. Yet here, by the hearth, she lingers, letting the last threads of song carry her deeper into rest. The wooden stairs creak beneath each step, as if the inn itself whispers goodnight to the traveler. The weaver places her hand upon the railing, its oak polish smooth by countless palms before hers. Slowly, steadily, she climbs. The murmur of the hall fades behind her. The laughter, the clink of tankards, the crackle of the hearth, all become memory dissolving into a deeper silence. At the top of the stair waits a long corridor. The air is cooler here, touched by the faint breath of the night wind that seeps through shutter cracks. Candles burn low in iron sconces, their flames bowing and swaying, casting tall, gentle shadows that stretch like cloaked guardians upon the walls. The weaver moves slowly along the corridor. Each door she passes seems to carry its own story. Behind one, a merchant snores heavily, dreaming of markets and silver coins. Behind another, A mother hums a lullaby to a child who curls against her side, safe beneath woolen blankets. A soldier prays softly in the next room, his voice steady, asking for peace in a world of unrest. And then the weaver finds her chamber, a simple wooden door, its latch worn, its frame crooked with age. She opens it gently, and the scent of straw and lavender greets her. A humble bed waits, straw mattress piled with blankets, rough but welcoming. The shutters are partly open, and through them spills the silver gaze of the moon. She steps inside, setting her satchel upon a small stool. The room is still, yet alive with quiet detail. A wooden chest at the foot of the bed, a wash basin with clear water that reflects the candle's flame, and above the bed, a simple carving of a cross, its edges softened by years of touch. The weaver draws closer to the bed and sits upon it, feeling the mattress give way beneath her. She exhales slowly, her shoulders lowering, her hands resting at last. Outside, the wind sighs through the eaves like a lullaby sung by the night itself. She removes her shoes, loosens her garments, and lets her hair tumble free. The weight of the day slips away, thread by thread, as though some unseen loom unweaves her burdens. Her eyes grow heavy, her breaths slower. She removes her shoes, loosens her garments, and lets her hair tumble free. The weight of the day slips away, thread by thread, as though some unseen loom unweaves her burdens. Her eyes grow heavy, her breath slower. The candle flickers, its flame bows lower then steadies, casting a golden circle of warmth around her small world. She lies down upon the straw bed, pulls the blanket across her body, and gazes for a moment at the ceiling beams above. They remind her of the loom, each one holding the roof in place as surely as warp holds weft. The moonlight brushes her cheek, her lips curve faintly as if touched by some secret joy, and then, with the candle dimming and the silence deepening, her eyes close. The rhythm of her breath becomes steady, peaceful, woven into the quiet music of night. Outside, the inn rests. The road waits for tomorrow. But for now, within these wooden walls, time slows, and sleep arrives, gentle as a hand upon the brow. She removes her shoes, loosens her garments, and lets her hair tumble free. The weight of the day slips away, thread by thread, as though some unseen loom unweaves her burdens. Her eyes grow heavy, her breath slower. The candle flickers, its flame bows lower then steadies, casting a golden circle of warmth around her small world. She lies down upon the straw bed, pulls the blanket across her body, and gazes for a moment at the ceiling beams above. They remind her of the loom, each one holding the roof in place as surely as warp holds weft. The moonlight brushes her cheek, her lips curve faintly as if touched by some secret joy, and then, with the candle dimming and the silence deepening, her eyes close. The rhythm of her breath becomes steady, peaceful, woven into the quiet music of night. Outside, the inn rests. The road waits for tomorrow. But for now, within these wooden walls, time slows, and sleep arrives, gentle as a hand upon the brow. The weaver dreams. Her body lies still upon the straw bed, but her spirit drifts beyond the chamber walls. The room dissolves, the ceiling beams fading into starlight, the floor into soft clouds of silver mist. She finds herself standing barefoot on a path woven not of earth or stone, but of threads, shimmering threads of gold, indigo, and rose. Each one hums softly like the quiet resonance of a harp string. The threads stretch endlessly, vanishing into a horizon of dream. The air here is gentle, carrying the fragrance of herbs she once used for dyeing. Sage, rosemary, woad, and madder. It soothes her lungs, slows her breath, invites her deeper. She walks forward, and with each step, the threads beneath her feet glow brighter, as if recognizing her touch. Ahead, a great loom rises. It is vast, far larger than any loom she has ever seen. Its beams carved from starlight, its heddles suspended from the heavens themselves. The shuttle moves on its own, gliding back and forth, weaving cloth that shimmers with constellations. She draws near, and the cloth reveals itself. It is a tapestry of all she has lived. There, in fine detail, she sees herself as a child gathering berries by the river bank. She sees her mother's hands, dye-stained, teaching her the craft of weaving. She sees winters endured by the hearth and summers alive with market laughter. Each memory glows in color, bright yet softened by time. But as she gazes further, she realizes the tapestry does not stop at memory. It stretches ahead into moments yet to come. She glimpses paths she has not walked, faces she has not met, threads of joy and sorrow, all interwoven into a cloth that flows endlessly forward. A voice whispers, low and steady, like the rhythm of the shuttle. All lives are threads. Each weaver is both maker and made. What you create with your hands, you also create with your days. The weaver listens, her heart swelling with quiet wonder. She reaches out, fingers brushing the cloth. At her touch, it ripples like water, and suddenly the loom vanishes. She stands now in a meadow, bathed in moonlight. The grass is tall and silver-tipped, swaying with the breeze. Owls call from the trees, and fireflies spark like wandering stars. The river glimmers nearby, flowing as steadily here in dream as it does outside the inn. The weaver kneels, running her fingers through the grass. Each blade feels like silk, cool and alive. She lies back, gazing at the endless sky, and the tapestry she saw upon the loom seems to stretch across the heavens, stars threaded into its fabric. Her eyelids grow heavy even within the dream. She exhales slowly, and the meadow embraces her. The hum of the loom becomes the hum of her own breath, a soft and steady rhythm. And as the dream folds around her, the night carries her deeper still, into the most peaceful part of slumber, the place where no burden remains, and only rest exists.